And he has their cell phone and home numbers. And where does he work? He works at the Wall Street Journal. I'm going to talk to you a lot today about how commentators in newspaper and TV have become really great bloggers, and that they are one of the best examples you can follow in terms of building your own following, building your own credibility, your reliability, how to use sources, and how to write. And somebody like Mossberg, he does reviews of new products, and he changes whether those products sell or not. He has huge influence over whether products are a success or not. Huge following. And the thing is that all of these commentators, all these people who have successful columns in newspapers, they're now online, and maybe they have a blog, or maybe they have successful commentary on TV or radio, they have a pact with their audience, and they fulfill that pact every time. When I read Mossberg, when Mossberg comes out every year with his review of all the new laptops, I know I can go there and I will quickly be able to see what are the top 2 or 3, judge what the different goods and bads of these qualities of these laptops are, and I'll be able to quickly get to what I want. He says he's got the review of the iPhone. I know he's got a review of an iPhone, the good, the bad, and I know it's totally independent. He has not been bought up. He's not selling what he's doing. I count on him. His pact with me is true every time. Let me tell you how that works with something as easy as a movie review. Movie reviewers, you may have a movie reviewer you listen to regularly, you read regularly. This guy just happens to be with the Wall Street Journal, and because I work there so long, I read him all the time. I don't always agree with him, but I know where he's coming from. So this week he says this new horror flick, Drag in Hell or Drag to Hell or something, you'll probably be in Singapore in a couple weeks. Apparently he says, for a horror film, it's fantastic. It is really scary, it is screamable, and all these other things. Now, I'm not going to go see that movie, but I know where he's coming from, and I trust him, and I wouldn't be surprised if that movie isn't the biggest movie at the box office this weekend in the U.S. Because he knows what's good enough. Here he said the Terminator movie isn't very good. He said Star Trek was very good. His pact with me is that I know where he's coming from every week. He's not sort of over here this time and over this time and all over the place. He knows a good film. He talks about the acting in it. I know where he's coming from. You listen to the radio in the morning, there may be a movie reviewer and you say, I never agree with them. So if they don't like a movie, you know you're going to go to it. Or vice versa. It's those sorts of people that keep their pact with their audience. And these are more examples of people that or institutions and people that I think keep their pact with me. Wall Street Journal, we don't know what Rupert's going to do. He may run it yet, but so far he's kept his pact with the reader. Bill Moyers is a liberal commentator, worked for the Johnson administration, is still around. I listen to his podcast every week. Again, he's a very good interviewer. Now, I know he's coming from the liberal point of view, so when I'm listening to that, I keep that in mind, but he keeps his pact with me. And 2 fantastic podcasts, and I use these because they come from radio. I think blogging, podcasting, all of it's kind of coming together, and the bloggers and podcasters and radio, they all have the same path with their audience. So I'm using these as examples. Excellent, excellent. And you know you're going to get something good every week. I would take time out of my week to listen to these. I was going to play you one, but I couldn't get the audio to work. So This American Life is a radio show out of the United States that has been running for about 15 years. It's a quirky little documentary radio show. And although it's This American Life, they have all kinds of very quirky, very strange things. But they're really so well produced and so well done. That's their pact with me. They're going to tell me a good story every week. The one I was going to play for you is called Kid Logic. If you ever go there, those are 3 that are wonderful. Kid Logic, First Day, and Fiasco. One of the openings of Kid Logic is that they have this story of this woman, and she said, when I was a kid, I remember clearly the day that I found out who the tooth fairy was. She was talking to her best friend, and her best friend, oh my God, she came home and I woke up when the tooth fairy was putting the money under the pillow. Don't know if you all have tooth fairies, but, and she goes, guess who the tooth fairy is? It's my dad. And so this other girl goes home, and the other girl's name was Jenny Loberfeld, and the other girl goes home and she tells her mom, I know who the tooth fairy is. It's Ronnie Loberfeld. It's Jenny's dad. This whole idea that it's kid logic. This show delivers on those kinds of great stories every week in and week out. They do fantastic things. And because of that, they're able to build an audience. Because they deliver. They started small. They started on a couple of radio stations. They were part of Chicago Public Radio, and they built up their audience. One thing, just as a sidelight, this represents the Chinese wall between business side and the journalistic side. There is no question that in this day and age, that line gets blurred sometimes. But bloggers who sell their soul, who are willing to pitch a phone or a computer or a play or anything else because they're paid for it, after a while you get known for that. And then you're no longer reliable. When I was at the Wall Street Journal I was in Hong Kong, and I wrote a story saying that, this was, you'll be able to tell how long ago this was, saying that the Hong Kong Shanghai Bank was going to move to London, their headquarters to London. This was in the year or so after Tiananmen Square, and Hong Kong Shanghai Bank, big bank, big advertiser, pulled all of their advertising from the Wall Street Journal. Now, I didn't know that at first, but one of the salespeople who was responsible for HSBC came over and she said, they just pulled all their advertising, I can't believe it. Is there anything we can do? And I said, of course not. No, there's nothing we do. That salesperson was fired for telling me that. There was a Chinese wall between the business side and the journalism side, and we did not cross it. And that's where some of the reputation of the Wall Street Journal comes from, and from other good newspapers. You can't take free things. If you try out a computer, if you try out a phone, if you're testing it, you have to send it back. When Walt Mossberg does that, he has a lot of forms he fills out, and he sends it all back. He doesn't keep it. He doesn't take the expensive gift at the door. The rule was always you could take anything less than $25 and anything you could eat. What good journalists try to do is write for their readers, and they really do know who their readers are. The word communication comes from the Latin word communis, just like it sounds, communism, group, communal. But here, in this case, you want to create a common understanding. And as the writer, as the creator, it is up to you to create that understanding. It is not up to your reader to puzzle and figure it out. It's up to you to create the understanding. And a lot of companies don't do this well. If anybody ever worked for a company and they say things like, well, we told you that, or it was in the memo, that was available on the intranet. If people aren't hearing your message, then you have not communicated. As I said, companies do this all the time. If you want an audience, you need to create that understanding. Make sure you are communicating with your audience. Anybody know what that is? What's in it for me? I guarantee you are subconsciously thinking this right now about what I'm saying. And every reader who comes to your blog is thinking this too. And if you are not delivering on your pact with them, if you're not giving them something useful, they got other things to do with their time. And because you're talking about blogging, you're talking about clicking away. Take some instant to click away.